Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. Last time we are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth. And who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world.
Seated. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a joy it is to be here today to celebrate this transition, this threshold, this ritual that will make you different people when you step out on the other end. And what a blessing it is to be surrounded by your friends, families, and colleagues. I'm Jim Larkin. For a few more short hours, I am the director of the Interfaith community, of which all of you are members today. You will be here not only as witnesses, but participants as well. And you will be well warned as to when you will participate. A couple of practical things. There are restrooms in the back, down the stairs. There's one down these stairs over here on to my right. Please, if you haven't already, silence any personal devices. We would greatly appreciate that. There will be an offering, and there should be an envelope in your program into which you can put an offering to contribute to the ongoing service that the Institute and the community provide for the greater community, and that is the people that our graduates ultimately touch. And we appreciate the support that you are able to give us today. There will be a silent auction, and I will draw your attention to that during the reception. There is a teaser in the flyer that you see in your hand by a piece of art by one of our own students. So please take advantage of that opportunity. Also in the reception, there will be a collection of small bags with zippers, each one with the name of one of the Ordinands. And nearby will be a piece of paper onto which you can write a blessing or a thank you or a prayer, whatever you want to offer to these beautiful women. And just write it out and slip it into the appropriate bag for the person that you are here to honor. They will greatly appreciate that, believe me. The Institute wouldn't be able to carry on without a number of important people. So I would like to recognize the core faculty who are here today, who teach and interact with our students every module that they participate in. And I see at least 4 of us here today. So would you please stand so we can recognize them? Thank you. We would also not exist without those who've already gone through the program. And we have a number of alumni who have come back to be with us today, and I would like to ask you to stand and be recognized. And we are an ongoing institution, so we have a collection of current students who are in the process and will one day be in this pew. So I'd like to recognize you as well. Please stand. And then, to maintain the ongoing efforts, we do have a very, very active board. And at least 2 of the board members that I know of are here, and I'd like to invite them to stand too. 3 of you? Where's the thing? So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support that you have shown to these women who are here, who have gone through the program, who probably would not be here without your support in one way or another, whether it was financial or emotional or spiritual. Thank you for being here and supporting them in this process. I would like to invite Lauren Van Ham. There she is.
I offer the words of E.E. Cummings for our invocation today. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today. And this is the Son's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings and of the gay, great happening illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any lifted from the no of all nothing, human, merely being, doubt, unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened. Amen.
Before I step to the podium for the next element, I do need to add to my welcome. As an interfaith community, we gather in this way twice a year. We meet monthly in a regular service. These 2 a year are very special. And in these gatherings, we do take the opportunity to recognize special achievement and accomplishment by those who are part of our community. And we do have someone to honor this day. I would invite Jürgen Schwing to stand. Jürgen was recognized by the Association of Clinical Pastoral Education this year with the Len Cedarleaf Award for Best Theology Paper of 2013. This is a national recognition. We want to honor you. What a pleasure to be here in this capacity. It has been my privilege to work with these students in each and every one of their modules, almost everyone, as we worked to hone our skills in public presentation, sermon giving, praying, anything that might be considered public, that we might be called to do in the roles of minister. And the other joy that I've had is working with them to prepare the ceremony. And so, after the first choice for sermon giver was unavailable, and the second choice was unavailable, it was my distinct honor and privilege to receive the invitation to stand here before you today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When considering what would be the most appropriate thing to share, I went to the Ordinands and asked and received what I expected. What is ordination? And what is interfaith? Some of you have heard me quote Webster's dictionary. To ordain. To invest as with the laying on of hands. Ministerial or priestly authority. Or in our case, universally today, priestessly authority. Some really key words here. Invest. If you were going to invest your money, you wouldn't do it on a whim. You may not even do it on the suggestion of a good friend. You would do some research. You would look into the possibilities. What are the ramifications of this investment that I'm making? These ladies, I'm sure, did some investing in how they would apply or whether they would apply to the Chaplaincy Institute. And once applied and accepted, they've made a huge investment. 12 5-day modules, 200 hours of practicum, a vocational, read psychological assessment, an in-care support team that they met with 6 times over the course of their time through CHI, in which they reflected on their calling and were supported and verified in that calling. Now we are here to invest in them. And we don't do that lightly, as you know. We take this very seriously. We are welcoming you into our community in that process. And we will do so, as the very definition said, through this process of laying on of hands. And you will all get to participate in that in a few minutes. Authority. What is the word authority? I looked it up, and there are probably a dozen definitions. In this context, it probably comes down to, we're giving you power based on your knowledge and experience of life. And we do that intentionally in this process. We agree that you are ready, and we agree that we are making a good investment when we do that. So that's what we're doing today in ordination. Now, what is interfaith? I've heard a lot of analogies and metaphors, and I came up with one that I hope and I think you will find helpful. I invite you to imagine someone in your heart and your mind right now that you know very well. It could be in any role in your life: an employer, boss, a good friend, a coworker, a partner, or a spouse. And I'm going to invite you to look into my life as I share this metaphor with you, and maybe it'll help you shed some light on what interfaith is. Megan and I were married in the summer of 1981. This year will mark 33 years of anniversary. We have, over those years, gotten to know each other quite well. The first 18 years, we were a couple alone. Our son was born in the 18th year of our marriage. We grew, we developed, we got to know each other well, and we both grew as a result of that relationship. Then that miraculous event occurred in which we became parents. And I experienced my 18-year-long partner in an entirely new way. There were activities that I saw her do with our son. There were ways of being that she was with our son that she had never been with me. She was not my mother. She was Jake's mother, and I got to see her in a new light that just broadened my appreciation and love for her. 8 years ago, through the circumstances that don't need to be gotten into here, my father-in-law moved in with us. And I got to see another part of Megan, the daughter. Obviously, I knew she was a daughter, and she already and always had been a daughter. I just got to experience it in a new way. And I got to see how she cared for her father. In a way, again, I'm not her father. She didn't care for me that way. And again, it broadened my appreciation and my love for her. Over the years of this experience and this relationship, I have broadened and expanded my experience and understanding of this person. I would invite you now to consider your relationship with the divine in that way. How did you come to meet the divine? What were the ways you were taught to relate to the divine? Was it in a traditional weekly meeting and gathering? Do you go on weekend conferences and seminars? Was meditation a part of it? Now I'm going to invite you to consider additional ways to relate to or experience the divine without interfering with, cutting short, or undermining the way you've always done it. So maybe you might consider a Muslim practice, setting a time 5 times a day to take out of your day and dedicate it to commitment to communication through prayer to the Holy One. What might it be like for you to consider taking on an animal or spirit guide, as we learn about from Native American traditions? A guide like that is with you and speaks to you and expands again your experience of life. What would it be like for you if you have a view of God as a single being, to take the many facets and qualities of the divine and allow a unique divinity to be assigned to each one of those, like the Hindus do? There are so many ways of experiencing this vast and multi-quality being that we call God or Yahweh or Allah. And there's so many different ways. Now, because Megan became a mother and I saw her as a mother, that didn't diminish my appreciation for her as my spouse and partner. And as I grew to experience her as a daughter, it didn't diminish my experience of her as my wife and partner. As we learn to and open ourselves to the possibilities of experiencing the Holy One in new and exciting ways, doesn't mean that we will undo or say we don't need the way we previously experienced the Holy One. So that is interfaith. Doesn't mean we give up anything. I'm suggesting that it means we may allow ourselves to take on more and more of what the Holy One would like to show us of itself in new and exciting ways. Now I'd like to take a chance to say what I want to say. I love you, ladies. I have loved sharing our time together in classes, on the phone in the last 6 months as we worked towards this great moment in your lives. I encourage each of you to pursue that ministry that you feel calling you with all that you are. Taking on things that will be put on you that you don't want. Projections and who you should be and what's going to be expected of you. Be yourselves. Share yourselves. And be the presence of the divine for all and everyone that you come in contact with. What a blessing you are to the world. Amen. Now we get to hear from them. And I need to say, as far as I know, there's a name in here that's not here present. Perry Pike for musical interlude. Has Perry appeared? So Lily and Alec, can we call on you to be the musical interlude when that time comes? Jennifer, here first.
Prove it. How often do I hear those words with regards to God, religion, anything to do with spiritual connection? Show me proof. It always makes me wonder, what would a person like to see? What would constitute proof? An appearance of a body? A voice from above? A parting of a sea? How do I prove the existence of grace? Trying to answer that question for me is like trying to draw a picture of love. Sure, we could use words and colors and lines and photographs and still not come close to the it of it. What does divinity look like? What does it say? Who gets to enter in and who is excluded? Where does grace reside? These are questions that transcend our ability to explain or illustrate. What do you see when you look for God? Do you see a man, a woman, a cross, a book, a shrine? Do you see suffering, vengeance, isolation? Prove it. In other words, I believe our relationship to grace is deeply, devoutly personal. It is part of that which makes each of us whole, integrated individuals. And I do mean relationship. We may love, rage, hide from, seek out, ignore, or invite our divine spirit into our lives or out of it. But the moment each of us felt the presence of something liminal, longed for something deeper, or despaired in loneliness for a connection to something larger than ourselves, we entered into that relationship with grace. So the better question is, what does your divinity look like? That is not to say that every person in this room is in this relationship. There are many of you who steadfastly do not have this relationship, nor see any need for such. To you, I bless you for knowing yourselves so intimately and for finding meaning where you do. And certainly many of you have a strained, ambivalent, or even dysfunctional relationship with grace. I imagine that just like any other important relationship, your relationship status is dynamic. It's hard to have faith when we cannot understand how something so powerful with so much promise could abandon us so completely sometimes. But this is the nature of real relationships, not perfect TV families. We lose those we love. They leave us sometimes, and they go places we cannot follow. And then we are left with just ourselves. And in that leaving, we have an opportunity to admit defeat, to find a quiet space, to go broken into a corner and wait, and listen, and tend, and gently rebuild. And in those places, that is where the relationship began anew. But there's a scientific explanation for everything. There's no conflict between faith and science. Both are a lens that allow us to peer in on what can't be explained, what is too beautiful or perfect or terrible to make meaning of what feels meaningless. The sun rose this morning because of myriad scientific phenomena that are solid and provable and concrete. The hope that it will happen again tomorrow is the act of faith. The event that it keeps happening, whether we notice it or not, with or without our effort, comment, and even if we try to stop it, that is the grace. For me, it is evident in the redwood trees. There is a place that I go by a river in a town that I love, where the sand is always warm and the same rocks have stood for as long as anyone can remember, never moving but a little different each time. There's a spot I like to wade out to and look upstream. And when I'm there, I feel strangely invisible. Not invisible, rather embedded. Every fiber of me has become part of the river, the rocks, the trees, the sun on my face, and this word-defying moment, this is my God. God does not need to fit in a box. God does not need to fit in a word or any one book. Perhaps all the words and all the tools and all the services and all the prayers are just our small attempts to contain this uncontainable thing. Some of us crave it like water and need a good tight container to carry it at our hip, to touch it and know the words that bring grace close or bring us close to grace. Others of us just sink into it, bury our toes in it, read all of the books and say, true, but there's more. And no one has to be right or wrong, and no one person in this room needs to agree. As each of us is a vital individual, so too do we have the right and privilege to seek for that authentic thing that makes our souls sing. And do any of us have the right to tell another that their faith is wrong or stupid or worthless? There is room enough for every single person to inhabit the spiritual landscape of their truth. One person's territory ends and another starts. We can meet each other on the borderlands and compare, trade, and be better for the exchange. Prove it. I can't and I don't need to. I know that this boundless joy from the simplest things, like my daughter's smile, informs my faith that the sun will in fact rise tomorrow. That I am able to rise and greet it again is proof enough for me.
A couple of days ago, I pulled into a parking lot at the Dollar Tree, and anyone who knows me knows that's true. And I saw an enormous cloud of shiny, red, heart-shaped balloons aching to be higher in the bright blue sky. A tall fellow with a straight back, beautiful cocoa latte skin, and mahogany hair held a thick cord of thin strings, restraining the desired escape of the airy mylar puffs. As the man walked, the inflated billow of certainly more than 100 balloons reluctantly followed, each balloon jostling the next like too many children in the back seat of a VW car. And with each step he took, the cloud pulsated. It reminded me of a giant beating heart. Faster than I could pull into the parking space, I had created several stories explaining this spectacle. Perhaps he was deeply in love and using this impressive visual display to convey his vast love to his beloved. Or maybe he had secretly longed for someone for years and would use this floating exhibition to announce his previously concealed, now unrestrainable affection. Or maybe he sold them to others seeking love in order to care for his own. He looked joyous and sure. I parked, I got out of my car, I craned for one last look. There he was, holding on to his colossal cloud of love incarnate, standing in front of a very, very small car. And as I tell you what happened next, you must forgive me because this is what engineers do. My mind raced. One balloon occupies 1 cubic foot of space. 100 balloons, that's 100 cubic foot of space. The small car, maybe 25 cubic foot of space. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Too many balloons or too little car. There simply was too much love for that little vehicle. And apparently he had come to the same conclusion. He looked baffled. He looked miserable. He looked deflated. As I walked into the store, I contemplated love. I thought about those who I love and those who love me. I thought about my partner and my children. I thought about the ancestors who brought me to this place and the grandchildren that don't yet exist, but I love already. I thought about the vibrant colors adorning the macaw, the awe seen in a child's eyes as they master the fine art of the spoon, the beauty of justice walking down a street with a sign held high, and the ethereal beauty of the cosmos. I ask you, who do you love and who loves you? It was prophetic that it was in the candy aisle that I thought about the wind of love. I love and am loved at dawn and dusk, and even in the dark of a black, black night. I try to love when it is inconvenient, like when I must have less so that others can have just enough. And I hope to love unconditionally. And I hope to be loved when I feel unlovable, unworthy, or under siege. So I ask you, when do you love? And when are you loved? It was in the checkout line that I thought about what love looks like. Clearly that day, love looked like a mass of bright red balloons. But what else might love look like? When I feel at peace, is that love resting? And when I am patient, is that love waiting? And when I see compassion, is that love healing? All of these images of love make me realize that love is indeed all around me, and I have endless avenues for its expression. So I ask you, what does love look like to you? Only minutes later, I completed my small purchase and I left the store, and I decided I would ask him if I could help. Certainly I could get 30 or more of his balloons into my van and drive them to his intended destination. But when I got to the parking space that he had occupied, the car, and the balloons were gone. a miracle, I decided, and certain proof that you can never, ever have too much love or love too much. I ask you, what gift of love will you offer the world and will be offered to you today? I hope you find comfort or inspiration in the who, the when, or the what of love. But what has been left unsaid is the why of love. The why of love confirms our deepest suspicion, our deepest hope. We love, and we are loved, because the divine presence, all that is and all that will be, is love. May it be so.
Hello. I'd like to share just a little about where I've been and where I am. After college, my soul gradually went into hibernation as I invested my being in meeting the perceived expectations of family, church, work, and graduate school. Periodically, I stuck my head out and questioned where life was taking me, only to return to the darkness, unable to muster enough energy to stay awake. Finally, as I approached 50, a mindfulness meditation class sent me stumbling out of my cave. I blinked a lot in the bright light of awareness, but I stayed awake this time, haunted by mortality issues and a calling I had ignored for many years. My journey since then has taken me from secular work changes to CPE to the Chaplaincy Institute. Before my husband's unexpected death last May, I had hoped to be starting a CPE residency in the fall. Instead, mourning, estate issues, downsizing, and selling a house are priorities. Friends and family ask, "When are you moving? Where are you going? What are you doing next?" I have no answers. Impatient myself, I periodically quiz the divine. "Isn't it time we discussed my ministry?" The repeated response, "This is the way it is now. The next step will be clear in due time." So my immediate future involves no career goal, no deadlines, and no destination. No way, my ego laments, to justify the time and money invested in seminary, to demonstrate the relevance of it all. My soul, however, is satisfied. My days are busy with sorting, boxing, disposing, pulled towards simplicity, lightness, and mobility. I am motivated to get this downsizing finished. With so much to do, there's little time for fantasizing about the future. Just as well, the divine often takes me where I never thought to go anyway. The significant opinions in any decision are mine and the divine. I'm getting better at telling our voices apart. Most days flow in process time more than chronos time. A sense of timelessness sometimes arises, as if all I have been, am, and will be coexist in the moment. I live more content with myself as I am, as the divine sees me. No comparisons, nothing to prove to myself or anyone else, and there is peace. From a conventional perspective, my situation could be seen as an obstacle on the path, full of irrelevant tasks, something to become overcome in order to get on with life. On reflection, however, I see that it is a cocooning process. Unlike the dark, imprisoning cave of my past, this cocoon is translucent, open to light, interaction, and the divine presence, warm and nurturing, patient and steadfast. Personal growth, important to my ministry, continues. Cultivating patience, staying with the moment, discerning divine presence and guidance, coming to feel comfortable in my own skin, worthy as I am, dropping comparisons to others. So, however and wherever my ministry evolves, whether others consider it relevant or not, I will strive to carry on awake and attentive, trusting in divine process. Every moment has divine presence, and with it, the potential for communion, comfort, and learning. Life holds no wasteful times, only time wasted. To my family and friends here, and the friends I haven't yet met, may you live fully awake. May you sense always that which is beyond you, whatever name you use. May your life unfold with ease, and may you be at peace.
Today, I extend an invitation to you. It is an invitation for how to live. It is simple, a single sentence, a quote by a yogic scholar named Douglas Brooks. For me, it has the power to deflate all the big existential questions and to hold a mirror to my life. It is a dare that invites you to discover your truth. It does not answer the questions for you, but instead invites you to dwell in deeper questions. It invites you to act. It invites you to recognize that your life is your canvas, that your life is the universe's canvas. I invite you to live your life as if you are the point the universe is trying to make. Chaplaincy calls me to live my life as if loving kindness, compassion, and interconnection are the universe's reason to be. You could say that my journey to ordination began on a rainy November night in San Francisco 4 years ago, while I was volunteering in a hospital emergency room. One of my tasks that night was to sit with an elderly woman while she waited for a taxi. As we waited, we talked about her life, and she confessed feelings of loneliness and fear. Sometimes at night I wake up and I'm all alone. My parents have died, my husband has died, I never had any children. Sometimes at night I wake up and I don't know what to do. Sometimes I'm afraid. As I listened to her story, I felt a great warmth in my heart, a radiance. Pondering that radiance later that night, when the woman was safely deposited back to her too quiet, too still home, and I was riding my bike through the chilly autumn night, a loud, clear voice within me said, "This is where I want to work with people." In their loneliness and their struggle to discover themselves and how to live, even with illness, even with dying, and even with fear. This call led me to Sutter General Hospital in Sacramento to complete clinical pastoral education
and to my jobs at Green Valley Hospice and Woodland Memorial Hospital, and to the Chaplaincy Institute. You could also say that my journey to ordination began years earlier, when through yoga I refound spirituality after several dark years of existential crisis. The first principle of the school of yoga I studied was to open to grace. What incredible grace to relearn to speak of the divine. What incredible grace to have found work that calls me to connect to the divinity I sense within, without, and flowing through all. Work that touches the most tender place in my heart and calls me to offer from that tenderness. Work that encourages me to cultivate kindness, presence, compassion, empathy, and love. Grace allows me to be the warm hand holding yours. Grace allows my imperfections to be well-intentioned. Grace allows me to feel blessed despite the grief I have experienced. My ordination makes explicit the contract between my heart and the great mystery of being. I exist within an unfolding isness. God is the presence that fills all things. We are all fragments of the divine, reflecting light back to source. To be aware of this is to witness the creation of this great tapestry, moment to moment to moment. Today, my internal vow to live sincerely from the radiance of my being, to participate and offer from my best self, is spoken out loud and affirmed. Today, my internal vow to co-create meaning as I journey through my unique human experience is celebrated. I am certain, as with all things on this journey, today's ordination will continue to blossom in ways I do not know. What I do know is that the next time I, as a chaplain, place my hand on the shoulder of a patient to offer her a blessing as she completes her own unique human journey, I know that you trust me to hold sacred her life, that you stand with me in the mystery of existence as I stand with her, witnessing, holding, blessing. In closing, I extend a blessing to you. May you trust that you are safe and held. May you know the beauty of the universe. May you express your inner radiance. And may you live your life as if you are the point the universe is trying to